Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. The sun had barely begun to peek through the curtains when Emma's alarm went off. A mischievous grin spread across her face as she silenced the buzzing. Today was the day she'd been planning for weeks, a chance to give her brothers a taste of their own medicine. Slipping out of bed, she tiptoed down the hallway, past the closed doors of her brothers' rooms. The house was quiet, save for the occasional snore echoing from behind one of the doors. Emma stifled a giggle as she descended the stairs, her mind racing with the day's itinerary. In the kitchen, she busied herself preparing an elaborate breakfast spread. Whole grain toast, avocado, fresh berries, and a kale smoothie. All the stereotypical girl food she could think of. As the coffee brewed, filling the air with its rich aroma, Emma pulled out her phone and set an alarm for precisely 7 a.m. The shrill sound of the alarm reverberated through the house, followed by a chorus of groans and muffled curses. Emma's grin widened as she heard the telltale thuds of her brothers stumbling out of bed. "Rise and shine, ladies!" she called out, her voice sickeningly sweet. "It's time to start our day of feminine fun." Ethan was the first to appear at the bottom of the stairs, his hair a disheveled mess and his eyes still heavy with sleep. "What the hell, Emma?" he grumbled, rubbing his face. "It's Saturday. Why are we up at the crack of dawn?" Henry and Jules weren't far behind, both looking equally disgruntled. Emma clapped her hands together, feigning excitement. "Don't you remember? You agreed to my little dare. Today you're all going to experience what it's like to be a girl." The brothers exchanged wary glances, clearly regretting their decision to humor their sister's scheme. But a dare was a dare, and none of them wanted to be the first to back down. "Fine," Jules sighed, crossing his arms. "What's first on this torture agenda of yours?" Emma's eyes sparkled with mischief. "Well, first things first, we need to start our day with a proper skincare routine. Can't have you ladies walking around with dull, lifeless skin now, can we?" She ushered them into the downstairs bathroom, which she had transformed into a makeshift spa. The counter was littered with an array of bottles, jars, and tubes, cleansers, toners, serums, and moisturizers of every variety. "All right, girls, time to cleanse," Emma instructed, handing each of her brothers a headband to keep their hair out of their faces. "First, we'll start with a gentle foaming cleanser. Wet your faces and apply a small amount, then massage in circular motions." Ethan grimaced as he squeezed a dollop of the cleanser onto his palm. "This stuff smells like flowers and unicorn farts," he complained, reluctantly spreading it over his face. "That's the scent of beauty, darling," Emma replied with a smirk. "Now make sure you get into all the nooks and crannies. We want those pores squeaky clean." The brothers fumbled through the cleansing process, water dripping down their necks and onto their t-shirts. Emma watched with barely contained glee as they struggled to rinse off the suds without getting soap in their eyes. "Excellent work, ladies," she praised, handing them each a soft towel to pat their faces dry. "Now, it's time for toner. This will help balance your skin's pH and prepare it for the next steps." Henry eyed the bottle suspiciously. "What's even in this stuff?" "Oh, you know, just some witch hazel, rose water, and a touch of magic," Emma replied airily. "Now, put some on a cotton pad and swipe it all over your face. Don't forget your neck." As her brothers awkwardly applied the toner, Emma moved on to the next step. "Now for the real fun. Serums. We'll start with a vitamin C serum for brightness, then layer on a hyaluronic acid serum for hydration." Jules squinted at the tiny dropper bottle. "How many drops?" 3 to 5 should do it," Emma instructed. "Gently pat it into your skin. Don't rub too hard. We're not trying to erase your face, just improve it." The boys fumbled with the delicate droppers, cursing under their breath as they tried to apply the serums without making a mess. Emma circled them like a shark, offering helpful tips and critiques. "Ethan, darling, you missed a spot on your forehead. Henry, be more gentle. You're not kneading dough. Jules, make sure you get that serum down to your neck. We don't want any telltale lines giving away your age." By the time they reached the moisturizer step, the brothers looked thoroughly defeated. Their faces were shiny with product, and their expressions ranged from annoyed to resigned. "Last step, ladies," Emma chirped, holding up a jar of thick cream. "This will lock in all that goodness and protect your skin from environmental stressors." As they grudgingly slathered on the moisturizer, Emma stepped back to admire her handiwork. "Look at you all. Your skin is positively glowing."
"Don't you feel refreshed and ready to take on the day?"
Ethan glared at his reflection in the mirror. "I feel like I've been dipped in cooking oil."
"That's the price of beauty, sister,"
Emma retorted with a wink.
"Now, who's ready for some morning yoga?"
A collective groan echoed through the bathroom. Emma led her reluctant siblings to the living room where she had laid out yoga mats in a neat row. Soft, instrumental music played from a Bluetooth speaker, filling the air with soothing melodies. "All right, ladies, let's start with some gentle stretches to wake up our bodies," Emma instructed, demonstrating a series of arm and neck rolls. Her brothers followed suit, their movements stiff and awkward. "Now let's move into our first pose, mountain pose," Emma continued, standing tall with her feet together and arms at her sides. "This might look easy, but it's all about alignment and grounding yourself." Jules shifted uncomfortably on his mat. "I feel ridiculous just standing here." "Shh," Emma hushed him. "Feel the earth beneath your feet. Imagine roots growing from your soles, connecting you to the ground." The boys exchanged skeptical glances, but remained silent. "Now, let's flow into a forward fold," Emma said, bending at the waist to touch her toes. "Bend your knees if you need to, but try to keep your back straight." Ethan grunted as he attempted to bend forward, his fingers barely reaching past his knees. "How are you so flexible?" he grumbled, watching Emma effortlessly fold in half. "Years of practice, dear brother," Emma replied with a smirk, and a willingness to embrace activities that aren't traditionally masculine. As they moved through the yoga sequence, Emma introduced increasingly challenging poses. She guided them through warrior poses, tree poses, and even attempted to get them into downward-facing dog. "Come on, Henry, get that butt in the air," she encouraged, adjusting her brother's posture. "It's called downward dog, not slouching dog." Henry wobbled precariously, his arms shaking with the effort of holding himself up. "This is torture," he mumbled into his mat. "No pain, no gain, sister," Emma chirped. "Now let's try a balancing pose. Tree pose, everyone." The living room became a scene of chaos as the boys attempted to stand on one leg, their arms flailing as they tried to maintain their balance. Emma circled them, offering helpful adjustments and encouragement. "Jules, imagine you're a graceful willow tree, swaying in the breeze," she said, gently pushing on his shoulder. Jules promptly toppled over, landing in an ungraceful heap on his mat. "Some willow tree I am," he muttered, struggling to his feet. As the yoga session progressed, Emma introduced more complex poses, delighting in her brother's struggles. They attempted chair poses, warrior 3, and even a modified crow pose, which resulted in more than one faceplant into the yoga mat. "And now for our final pose, Savasana or corpse pose," Emma announced after nearly an hour of gentle yoga. "Lie on your backs, close your eyes, and focus on your breath." The brothers collapsed onto their mats with visible relief. For a few blissful moments, the room was silent, save for the sound of deep breathing and the soft background music. "As you lie here, reflect on how your body feels," Emma said in a soothing voice. "Notice any areas of tension or discomfort. Embrace the feminine energy flowing through you." Ethan cracked open one eye.
"The only thing flowing through me right now is pain and regret."
Emma ignored him, continuing her guided meditation. "Visualize yourself as a beautiful, blooming flower, opening up to the world around you." Jules snorted, quickly disguising it as a cough when Emma shot him a glare. After a few more minutes of reflection, Emma finally brought the yoga session to a close. "Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes," she instructed. "When you're ready, gently roll onto your side and push yourself up to a seated position." The boys groaned as they sat up, their muscles protesting after the unfamiliar workout. Emma beamed at them, looking far too cheerful for someone who had just completed the same routine. "Don't you all feel so energized and centered now?" she asked brightly.
I feel like I've been hit by a truck,
Henry grumbled, massaging his lower back. "That's just your body releasing toxins and negative energy," Emma replied smoothly. "Now, who's ready for a healthy, nourishing breakfast?" She led her weary brothers to the kitchen, where the elaborate spread she had prepared earlier awaited them. The boys eyed the food warily, clearly missing their usual Saturday morning bacon and eggs. "Avocado toast?" Ethan asked, poking at the green mush on his plate. "Where's the protein?" Emma rolled her eyes. "It's in the smoothie, duh. Kale, spinach, and a scoop of plant-based protein powder. It's what all the fitness influencers swear by." Jules took a tentative sip of the green concoction and grimaced. "It tastes like lawn clippings." "Beauty is pain, darling," Emma replied sweetly. "Now eat up. We've got a busy day ahead of us, and you'll need your strength." As they ate their nourishing breakfast, Emma outlined the day's schedule. "After this, we'll be tackling some household chores. Then we'll have a lovely afternoon tea party, followed by a marathon of romantic comedies. It'll be just like a real girls' day." The brothers exchanged looks of horror, realizing that their ordeal was far from over. But a dare was a dare, and none of them were willing to be the first to crack. "Fine," Ethan sighed, reluctantly biting into his avocado toast. "But this better not leave this house. If the guys at work ever found out about this..." Emma's eyes glinted with mischief. "Oh, don't worry, brother dear. Your secret is safe with me." But the way she patted her phone, safely tucked in her pocket, suggested otherwise. As they finished their breakfast, the boys couldn't help but feel a sense of dread about what the rest of the day would bring. Little did they know, Emma's plans were only just beginning to unfold. After breakfast, Emma clapped her hands together, a bright smile on her face that made her brothers instantly wary. "All right, ladies, time to tackle those household chores. We can't have a proper girls' day without ensuring our living space is spotless, can we?" Groans echoed through the kitchen as the boys reluctantly got to their feet.
I thought the point of being a girl was to avoid all this housework crap,
Jules muttered under his breath. Emma's smile turned sharp.
"Oh, honey, welcome to the reality of being a woman. Now, let's divide and conquer, shall we?"
She produced a list from her pocket, flourishing it with a theatrical wave. "Ethan, you're on bathroom duty. Make sure those tiles sparkle. Henry, you'll be tackling the living room, dusting, vacuuming, the works. Jules, you're in charge of laundry. And remember, separate those colors." The brothers stared at her in disbelief. "You can't be serious," Ethan protested. "The bathroom! Do you know how disgusting that gets with 4 guys living here?" Emma's eyes glinted wickedly. "Oh, I'm well aware, which is why it's the perfect task for you to truly appreciate the joys of maintaining a clean home. Now hop to it." Grumbling and muttering under their breaths, the boys dispersed to their assigned tasks. Emma followed Ethan to the bathroom, arms laden with cleaning supplies. "Now, pay attention," she instructed, demonstrating how to properly scrub the toilet. "You want to get under the rim, really get in there. And don't forget to use a separate cloth for the seat and lid." Ethan gagged dramatically. "This is inhumane. I'm pretty sure this violates the Geneva Convention." "Stop being such a drama queen," Emma chided. "A clean bathroom is the mark of a well-kept home. Now, once you're done with the toilet, make sure to tackle the shower. Those tiles better be spotless when I come to inspect." Leaving Ethan to his grim task, Emma made her way to the living room, where Henry was half-heartedly pushing a feather duster over the bookshelves. "Oh, no, no, no," Emma tisked, shaking her head. "You're just moving the dust around. You need to use proper technique." She demonstrated a series of intricate movements, explaining the importance of working from top to bottom and using the right attachments on the vacuum for different surfaces. Henry's eyes glazed over as Emma went into detail about the best way to clean the ceiling fan blades. "I never realized there was so much technique to cleaning," he said weakly. Of course there is, Emma exclaimed. It's an art form, really. Now make sure you get into all the nooks and crannies. I want to be able to eat off these surfaces when you're done. Finally, Emma made her way to the laundry room, where Jules was staring at the washing machine as if it might bite him. Having trouble, dear? Emma asked sweetly. Jules turned to her, a look of desperation on his face. How do you even know which settings to use? And what's the difference between all these detergents? Emma launched into a detailed explanation of fabric types, water temperatures, and the importance of reading care labels. She demonstrated how to properly sort the laundry, emphasizing the catastrophic results of mixing colors with whites. And remember, she added, holding up a delicate bra, these go in a mesh bag on the gentle cycle. No exceptions. Jules held the mesh bag at arm's length, his face a mixture of confusion and disgust. Why are there so many rules? Welcome to the wonderful world of laundry, Emma said cheerfully. Now get to work. Those clothes won't wash themselves. As her brothers toiled away at their assigned tasks, Emma flitted between rooms, offering helpful advice and critique. She pointed out missed spots, demonstrated more efficient cleaning techniques, and generally made sure her brothers were thoroughly immersed in the world of household chores. After what felt like hours of scrubbing, dusting, and folding, the boys finally completed their tasks. They gathered in the living room looking exhausted and slightly traumatized. Well done, ladies, Emma praised, inspecting their work with a critical eye. You've all done a marvelous job. Doesn't it feel wonderful to have a clean, organized living space? The brothers collapsed onto the couch, too tired to even glare at her. I never want to see another toilet brush in my life, Ethan groaned, his hands raw from scrubbing. My arms feel like they're going to fall off, Henry added, massaging his shoulders. Jules just stared blankly at the pile of neatly folded laundry, muttering something about fabric softener under his breath. Emma clapped her hands together, her enthusiasm undiminished. Now that we've got our chores out of the way, it's time for the real fun to begin. Who's ready for a proper afternoon tea party? The collective groan from her brothers was music to her ears. Emma busied herself in the kitchen, preparing an elaborate spread for their afternoon tea. She pulled out the good china, arranging delicate teacups and saucers on a tray. A tiered stand was filled with an assortment of finger sandwiches, scones, and petit fours. The kettle whistled cheerfully on the stove as she selected an assortment of teas. Meanwhile, her brothers huddled on the couch, eyeing the transformation of their living room with growing trepidation. Emma emerged from the kitchen, balancing a heavily laden tray with practiced ease. Her brothers watched warily as she set it down on the coffee table, which she had draped with a lacy tablecloth for the occasion. Now, ladies, Emma began, her voice dripping with mock formality. Welcome to our afternoon tea soiree. Let's mind our manners and pinkies, shall we? She began pouring tea into the delicate cups, explaining the proper way to add milk and sugar. The boys watched in bewildered silence as she demonstrated how to stir without clinking the spoon against the sides of the cup. Ethan, darling, do try a cucumber sandwich, Emma said, offering the plate to her eldest brother. They're simply divine. Ethan eyed the dainty, crustless triangles suspiciously. Where's the rest of it? He asked, picking one up and examining it closely. Emma tutted disapprovingly. It's not about quantity, dear. It's about savoring each delicate bite. Now, take small, ladylike nibbles. We wouldn't want to appear uncouth, would we? Jules snorted into his teacup, nearly choking on the hot liquid. Henry thumped him on the back, trying not to laugh himself. Something amusing, Jules? Emma asked sweetly, her eyes narrowing. Jules coughed, wiping his mouth with a napkin. No, just appreciating the delicate flavors. Excellent, Emma beamed. Now let's discuss some proper tea party conversation topics. How about we start with the latest fashion trends? I heard floral patterns are making a comeback this spring. The brothers exchanged panicked glances, clearly out of their depth. Flowers are nice, Henry offered weakly. Emma sighed dramatically. Oh, Henry, we'll have to work on your conversational skills. Ethan, what are your thoughts on the rising hemlines this season? Ethan, who had been in the process of shoving an entire scone into his mouth, froze mid-bite. He chewed quickly, struggling to swallow. I prefer longer hemlines, he ventured, looking utterly lost. Interesting perspective, Emma mused, barely containing her amusement.
And what about you, Jules? Any thoughts on the debate between matte and glossy lipsticks?
Jules, who had been trying to discreetly check his phone under the table, looked up like a deer in headlights. I, prefer chapstick? Emma rolled her eyes. Ladies, we really must work on your beauty knowledge. How else will you keep up with the latest trends and gossip? As the tea party progressed, Emma continued to pepper her brothers with questions about celebrity relationships, skincare routines, and the merits of various rom-com leading men. The boys fumbled through their answers, growing increasingly flustered as they tried to navigate this unfamiliar territory. Now, Emma announced, setting down her teacup with a decisive clink.
No proper girl's day is complete without a little pampering. Who's ready for manicures and face masks?
The collective groan from her brothers was almost deafening.
Oh, come now,
Emma chided, already pulling out a large cosmetics bag. Beauty is pain, darlings, and we've got a lot of work to do to get you all camera ready. As Emma began laying out an array of nail polishes, face masks, and various mysterious beauty tools, her brothers exchanged looks of resigned horror. They knew they were in for a long afternoon. Ethan, you simply must try this avocado and honey mask. It'll do wonders for those worry lines, Emma said, approaching her eldest brother with a bowl of green goop. Ethan leaned back, eyeing the concoction warily. I don't have worry lines, he protested. Emma tisked, already starting to apply the mask to his face. Denial isn't just a river in Egypt, dear. Now hold still, we want an even application. As Ethan submitted to the face mask, Emma turned her attention to Jules. Now, let's see those nails. Oh my, we have our work cut out for us here. When's the last time you had a proper manicure? Jules looked at his hands in confusion. Never? Exactly my point, Emma sighed, pulling out an array of intimidating tools.
We'll start with a good buffing, then shape those cuticles. What color were you thinking?
I think a nice coral would suit your skin tone. Before Jules could protest, Emma had already started working on his nails, explaining the importance of proper nail care and the dangers of hangnails. Henry, meanwhile, was eyeing the exit, clearly contemplating making a run for it. Emma caught his gaze and smiled sweetly. Don't even think about it, Henry, dear. You're next for the hot oil hair treatment. Those split ends are practically crying out for help. For the next hour, the living room was transformed into a makeshift beauty salon. Emma flitted between her brothers, applying face masks, painting nails, and offering a running commentary on proper skincare routines. Remember, exfoliation is key, she lectured as she scrubbed Ethan's face with a gritty paste. But be gentle. We don't want to irritate that sensitive skin. Ethan, his face covered in green goop with cucumber slices over his eyes, let out a muffled groan. How much longer do I have to keep this on? Beauty takes time, darling, Emma replied cheerfully. Just relax and let the nutrients sink in. You'll thank me when you're glowing like a newborn babe. Meanwhile, Jules was struggling to keep his hands still as Emma meticulously painted his nails a bright coral color. How am I supposed to do anything with wet nails? He complained. That's the point, dear, Emma explained patiently. It forces you to take a moment for yourself to slow down and appreciate the little things, like how fabulous your hands will look once we're done. Henry, his hair wrapped in a steaming towel, looked utterly defeated.
I never realized being a girl was so much work,
he mumbled. Emma patted his shoulder sympathetically. Oh, honey, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even gotten to hair removal or shapewear yet. The color drained from Henry's face. Hair removal? Of course, Emma chirped. Can't have any unsightly stubble ruining our smooth feminine aesthetic. Don't worry, I've got wax strips warming up as we speak. The horrified looks on her brothers' faces only seemed to fuel Emma's enthusiasm. She continued her beauty boot camp with relentless energy, introducing them to the joys of eyebrow plucking, the importance of toner, and the transformative power of contouring. By the time Emma declared the beauty treatments complete, her brothers looked shell-shocked. Their faces were glowing from the masks and exfoliation, their nails were perfectly manicured and painted in various pastel shades, and their hair was styled into soft waves. "Just look at you all," Emma exclaimed, holding up a mirror for them to see. "Absolutely gorgeous! You could give any Instagram influencer a run for their money." The boys stared at their reflections in disbelief, hardly recognizing themselves. "I look like a Ken doll," Ethan muttered, touching his smooth cheek gingerly. Jules flexed his fingers, watching the light catch on his shiny nails. "How am I supposed to work on my car like this?" Henry just stared at his reflection, wide-eyed and silent. Emma clapped her hands together, beaming with pride. "Now that we're all beautified, it's time for the piece de resistance of any girl's day, the romantic comedy marathon." She herded her dazed brothers back to the couch, which she had piled high with fluffy pillows and soft blankets. A stack of DVD cases sat next to the TV, promising hours of romantic hijinks and heartfelt declarations of love. "I've selected a perfect mix of classics and modern favorites," Emma explained as she popped the first disc into the player. "We'll start with The Notebook, a true tearjerker, and work our way through Bridget Jones's Diary, 10 Things I Hate About You, and Love Actually." The brothers exchanged looks of resigned despair as Emma dimmed the lights and settled in next to them, a box of tissues at the ready. As the opening scenes of The Notebook played out, Emma sighed dreamily. Isn't young Ryan Gosling just dreamy? Those eyes, that jawline? Ethan shifted uncomfortably. "I guess. If you're into that sort of thing." "Oh, hush," Emma chided. "Ma, let yourself get swept up in the romance. Feel the emotions." As the movie progressed, Emma provided a running commentary on the characters' actions, the costume choices, and the swoon-worthy romantic gestures. Her brothers, trapped by social convention and their own stubborn pride, suffered in silence. By the time they reached the iconic rain kiss scene, Emma was openly weeping. She thrust the tissue box at Jules, who took a tissue with a look of utter confusion. "Isn't it beautiful?" Emma sniffled. "The passion, the devotion. Don't you just wish someone would look at you that way?" Jules patted her awkwardly on the shoulder. There. It's just a movie, Em." Emma gasped in horror. "Just a movie? Jules, this is the epitome of true love, the kind of connection we all dream about." As the credits rolled, Emma wiped her eyes and beamed at her brothers. "Wasn't that just magical? Now who's ready for Bridget Jones?" Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.